So, of course, this is Eternal King. We are playing the Metro series currently, and we're going to do a little bit of an, off-subject rant, as I've been known to do, and it's specifically about AA games. So, if you don't know, there are essentially three kinds of games in the gaming industry. There's indie games, there's AA games, and then there's AAA games. So basically games that have a budget of, less than $1 million, games that have a budget of about $10 million, and then games that have a budget of $100 million. Those are essentially the three brackets of game design. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, this distinction between indie, AA, and AAA, is because very recently one of the past executives from Sony did a speech at a conference, and he basically said that unless we can reboot the AA gaming industry, the industry is basically doomed, right? So like Western game development, modern AAA publishers, Ubisoft, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, EA, all these guys are essentially going to be screwed if they are not able to reboot the Western AA development industry. And so, of course, we're looking at Metro because Metro is like the archetypal AA game that everyone thinks of. It's essentially a very high-quality first-person shooter that is Eastern European inspired, and the visuals are good enough that you might mistake this AA game for a AAA game. Like, for me, for example, this doesn't look too exceptionally different from something like a Fallout, for example. Like, this is like the high-quality Fallout 4 we didn't get, in my opinion, right? That's like Metro in a nutshell. It's like higher quality Eastern European Fallout. Except instead of ever going outside, you spend the entire time in the vaults.
Artyom was one of the men who found these Sikhs. They gave him a ranger.
So why are AA games specifically so important for the industry? I would argue for the same reason that horror movies are so important to the film and television industry. They are cheap to make, and they make a lot of money. That is why AA games are so important.
Like finding buried treasure, eh?
And what happened was, and the reason why AA gaming kind of in the Western space has fallen off, which is not something that the executive of Sony mentioned. The reason why that happened is because all these major publishers started buying up small studios and closing them down, right? EA bought up Visceral Games and then closed Visceral Games. Microsoft just bought up Bethesda and Obsidian. And again, we've already gone through they closed down half of Arcane Studios. They closed down the guys that made Evil Within. This is just what happens, is that you get, in the Western space, we buy up studios that are creative and making good AA games, and then we close them down, right? We're not going to have an Evil Within 3, which was, of course, was like a Western AA game that was very high quality. Sure, we'll get more Metro games, and we'll get more Stalker games, and we'll get like more stuff out of Europe in the AA space, but we will not get, we're not going to get any more Evil Withins unless someone wants to take that on, which they probably won't. But the really unusual thing that we're seeing is that there are executives in the game industry now that are basically saying the opposite of what Microsoft said. We need to be focusing less on the Call of Duties and the Assassin's Creeds and all of these, the Spider-Mans and these $100 million games. We need to stop focusing on developing these types of titles, and we just need to build essentially, the Western equivalent of a Metro title. Now, I just beat Metro Exodus recently. It was fantastic.
For now, let's get you equipped.
And it's actually making me want to go back and play the other Metro titles now. Like, this is really cool. You guys can hear that sound design, right?
There are hotspots down here in the metro, too.
Grabby. Grabby mask. Here we go.
Don't forget filters for the mask. Sure, it looks cool enough even without these, but they definitely make it better for your health.
Yeah, so the fact that this is AA and probably did not have a massive development budget, and it's like this detail oriented in terms of the sound design and like these guys, you know, these rangers training in the metro, it's exceptionally impressive. I mean, you can hear the revolvers cracking off there, like they sound really good.
Here's your advance salary for this month. Remember, your pay is in military grade rounds. Sure, you can use them as usual ammo for some hefty extra damage, but saving them to buy guns, attachments...
If you don't know, Avalanche Reviews recently did a really good job of going through all the Metro titles, and he spent, and the Stalker titles, and he actually spent a great deal of time talking about how important those games are to him as an adult gamer, Metro and Stalker, and I kind of agree. I want the rifle, I think. Oh, okay. Okay, this is so cool. Like, the fact that the game is starting off and I get these many choices in terms of like what I want to be using. Let's do the RPK. It's supposed to be a pre-war light machine gun, so I'm going to try try that. And can we customize? Customize. Reflex sights. Okay. Alright. Yeah, there we go. So now we got the sight on the reflex sight on the RPK. Okay, perfect. And then let's see what else we want. We probably want the rifle, right? And then we'll customize the rifle with the sight as well. We'll install that. Here we go. That looks great to me. So we're gonna go with this loadout here.
Good hunting. Come visit us soon.
So,
Like it?
yeah, I like both guns. Thank you. So just the fact that you're able to not only select your weapons relatively early on, but customize them is super cool. And look, we can fire at the training area here. So I guess that's our machine gun. This is our rifle. Very, very cool. They feel great. Like that's I guess my marksman rifle, and that's my assault rifle. That feels great, honestly. So yeah, like I was saying, previous executive from Sony essentially coming out and saying that without AA games, the Western development space is going to fail. Because AA games bring in more gamers and more people. They are allowed to be more creative overall. And they can explore interesting concepts like this. So I would argue that yes, I think the Sony executive is correct and that Microsoft is wrong. It's not about Game Pass. It's not about selling subscriptions. It's not about AAA games and Call of Duty being day one on your streaming platform. It's about titles that make people, and more specifically new people, want to play games. You can take this way back to like the pirating era, peak pirating era of gaming, right? Oh, what an evil time in gaming history that you could like pirate all these distinct and different PC games. It was actually really good for the gaming industry because it exposed more people to video games. A broader audience of people got into gaming thanks to BitTorrent and Pirate Bay and things like that. And a lot of the time they would, essentially download games like this, like Metro. And they would fall in love with what they found.
Gold steel and wild steeds and treasures untold. Of course, the Tomb Raiders will always die.
What? A little too close, buddy.
Killed by demons or ghosts or their own.
Yeah. So gaming in general was built off the AA space. You think about PS2, and there are so many game franchises I can think of that were like not stellar, but built the console as one of the most successful in the industry. So like True Crime. Do you remember True Crime? No? That weird GTA ripoff that you could do Kung Fu in? Like, do you remember that game? No, you don't. But it was pretty essential for the success of the platform. And that's the thing, is you could go to like any Blockbuster or Pirate Bay and download a million different games with a million different gameplay concepts. Because they were all made, you know, you just needed like a budget of like $1 million to like pump these puppies out. And they were actually market viable. So it makes me wonder, is the problem the way that, you know, we do business in North America, where we can't make successful games like Metro in the AA space and Atomic Heart and Stalker? Why can't we make games of this scale? It seems like a simple thing. But of course, if the entire role of the games industry is just to buy up these small studios and close them down, you're not getting your Evil Within 3, right? You're not getting your Dead Rising 5. It's just not happening. If you just keep buying up these studios and closing them, you're not going to get your AA games anymore. And what they've tried to do to recoup those costs is spam out remakes, right? You look at the PS5, the PS5 is the remake console, right? Like, play all your favorite games, but now they look prettier. The console. You know, Silent Hill 2 remake selling 1 million copies to 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds who were old enough to have played that game. But like the Sony executive said, those are established, that's your established audience. Like, what happens when those 30-year-olds, like myself, become 50? They're not going to keep playing games. Eventually, you're going to have to bring in a new audience of gamers. People who want to play weird things you've never heard of. They want to play like Katamari Damacy, because, you know, you're basically God's servant rolling around a giant sticky ball of yarn, right? Like, they want to play weird stuff. And the problem is that if we just close down every single AA studio that exists in North America, then there won't be any interesting games worth playing anymore. So I thought it was really interesting that, you know, we're finally addressing that issue.
This is utter madness. The Dark Ones were the greatest threat the Order ever faced.
Wow, he looks a lot like older in Metro Exodus, but yeah, same character, same voice actor.
Artyom has a gift. I believe he can establish contact with the creature. Let him come with me.
Artyom's main gift is that he can put bullets in the heads of many different things, but
to the darkness and locate the Dark One. They'll send a sniper over.
Of course, this is supposed to be Anna, your girlfriend from Exodus.
Yes, sir.
Not quite as pretty in this one.
To eliminate the creature and finish the Order's job. You can't! It's murder! Restrain him! You idiot! You're making the same mistake that... We're done here. Escort Khan.
So, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you miss
Artyom,
AA game development?
For getting rid of the nightmares!
Yeah. If you don't know, in the first Metro, which I played like originally on launch, you set off a nuke and kill all the Dark Ones.
The lost is in mind. Look here. Complete the mission and get back here quickly. A war is coming, and I'll need every ranger at his post. Now on your way.
So, what are you waiting for? Come along, Rabbit.
Rabbit?
Artyom, if it's true that the Dark One's coming, and don't forget to finish it with a headshot. We now suspect there's no.
So basically, there's been a sighting of a remaining Dark One that we have to go kill. That's what's happening right now.
Making peace with the Dark Ones. I wish I had been up in that tower myself to see them.
But yeah, you know, there is nothing quite like the Metro games out there. And just like there isn't quite anything like the Stalker games out there. Just like there wasn't quite anything like Atomic Heart out there.
Maybe we could make it,
you know,
so the children could live on the surface and feed off the radiation. Shit. You don't shake hands with the dead.
Please step away from the edge of the platform.
Yeah, this chapter so far has serious Half-Life inspirations, which I'm really digging the vibe of. And plus Fallout, like there's a lot of that in there. Mixed with those Eastern European sensibilities. So, loving this intro so far. And I absolutely love Metro Exodus, and then of course, I played the original Metro when it first came out, and it was basically a giant, pile of jank. But, it spawned this super successful AA series, beginning with the original. And the Stalker games were janky too. So yeah, it is a really interesting time in game development where we have top executives from the gaming industry for the first time ever saying that without AA games, like Metro Exodus and Stalker 2 and Atomic Heart, which currently are only being developed in Europe, not North America. Without games like that, the games industry simply cannot survive. I agree. The Xbox 360, of course, had tons of AA games. I would consider Bayonetta 1 to be relatively low budget. I would consider Dead Space to have been relatively low budget at the time.
I'll try to put some juice on the system and get the lights on. Use your flashlights in the meantime.
And then you also had titles like Vanquish, and there were so many titles on the 360 that, I would have considered to be relatively low budget, but they were still exceptionally polished and fun games. But yeah, I think for the first time ever we're realizing that it can't just be Fortnite and, League of Legends and, Bethesda and, EA and Activision Blizzard and all of these games. The industry cannot survive with just those titles because they do not bring in... They're great for established audiences. They're not great for new players. Yeah, I flipped a switch. Yeah, it's just, I've never heard someone in the industry come out and just say it like that before. But it's obviously true. Every gamer who's been gaming for 30 plus years knows that is true. That they can't just keep remaking the same games over and over and over again.
Right. There's a dead end on the left. Something along
right? What are they going to do for the PS6? Is it going to be Silent Hill 2 again? And is it going to sell another 1 million copies? Probably not. There has to be a ceiling on that, right? And so that's where games like Metro come in, where...
Shit, that thing's fast.
That was a waste of ammo.
I don't think we'll run into anything serious here. Great, the ladder. It's just a little more walking. Then we'll see if you're rabbit or man.
Why do you keep calling me a rabbit?
Surface, put your mask on.
I would do that if I knew it. M? No?
Afraid of knocking your head? Enough. Put the mask on.
You didn't tell me what the... So again, even something like properly tutorializing the controls. You don't get that in a AA game.
Way out of your reach, rabbit.
But yeah, this is just... Metro has a special place in the heart of a lot of gamers because it provides a AA experience that is creative and different from anything else you'll find in the industry. Meanwhile, people who have been gaming for a long time will look at something like Starfield and they'll just not want to play it, right? Starfield, I think, is a multi-million-dollar flop for many people, myself included.
Let's go to the main entrance. There's a good shooting position there. I can cover a lot of territory. You're supposed to be immune to their... what? Influence? Oh, I don't have your gift. So hop along, rabbit. Head on in and look for the creature. I'm thinking that since the Dark Ones are so fond of you, it'll sense you, or smell you, or whatever the fuck they do, and come from hiding. Just try to stay in the open so I can cover you. We'll maintain radio contact.
I actually kind of like this harder-edged version of Anna. She's kind of cool.
Okay then. Good luck.
A lot of the time in Western games, when there is a potential love interest, they kind of just immediately want to jump your bones. And here we see that Anna is sort of being openly hostile towards us, which is, I think, interesting.
I'm in position.
Okay, she's a better shot than I am.
That hell was bad luck. Get ready for more. Okay, go around. There's no way around. Another 3. Let's do it. Look, there's one marine.
Oh shit. Yeah, we are playing on Ranger difficulty, so second highest difficulty currently.
Something's still burning like that was.
In terms of the balance of the game, weapons feel very lethal, but your life, you know, you can die just as fast in like 3 hits, as you saw there.
Still be burning after all this time. So it does see some kind of movement. Get ready. On the right. I'm working on them. Those arms are watching. You're a watchman. That hell was bad luck. Get ready for more. Another 3. Let's do it. Look, there's one marine. Looks like we pretty much cleaned the place. How are you? Hey, you alright? Hey, that's you. You're doing a decent job. Maybe you're working around it after all. Okay, go left. There's no way around. There's something at the edge of the crater.
But yeah, no, I'd be really interested in hearing your guys' take on modern AAA versus sort of the dying AA industry. You know, that's actually very cool looking. Oh, they're just like little scraggly guys. Oh, they're cute. Yeah.
About 30 meters from your position. 2 o'clock.
And even if you think of like the original Silent Hill, that game was exceptionally low budget and janky, I think. Like obviously now, you know, they probably spent a lot of money. That's very much human nature that, like, you see one small alien child and you're like, oh, quick, shoot it with your assault rifles. But that probably is how the humans would react to this. I'm not gonna shoot him. Aw, he's cute. But yeah, pretty soon we're going to be ending off this little gameplay showcase. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the nature of AA games versus AAA games, and the recent comments from the past Sony executive on how if the AA industry isn't rebooted with titles of a similar quality level to Metro, for example, that the industry is going to die, because you can't just create AAA games and remakes of old franchises. That's not sustainable forever. Eventually there's going to be a ceiling on that. Either because old gamers are going to get too old to play games, they're raising a family or what have you, and the industry won't be able to continue growing unless we get some of the younger people who like playing games on their phones and their iPads, and they like playing Fortnite and Minecraft. Unless we help to transition those players out of, you're a Minecraft millennial, right? How do you get those types of players playing games again? Well, the answer right now being tossed around is AA games.
It was delivered to Reich as well.
I'll deal with it later. This one.
Suspected mutation.
No, I'm normal. See, 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers. Don't you understand? I'm a Hansa citizen.
Shut up!
You're not in Hansa. Here you are a suspect in the distribution of corrupted genes. And this is your trial.
But yeah, that's going to be where we're leaving things off. Feel free to sound off in the comments. Do you miss the AA games industry, at least how it existed in North America, where we had smaller studios producing smaller budget games that were creative and interesting, perhaps a little less polished? And have you tried any of the recent AA games coming out of Europe, specifically the Metro series, the Stalker series, and Atomic Heart? That's going to be it for today. This is Eternal King, signing out.